What's it like to step out of those ruts of attention? What's it like to include instead of exclude? What's it like to look at the good instead of just being fixated on our grievances and what's wrong with us, what's wrong with everyone else in the world? What's it like? What happens? What happens if I actually pay attention to that supermarket clerk? What happens if I speak to people in the elevator in New York City? Not first, of course, but I mean respond. I would never speak first. But sometimes other people talk. Like, what do? I grew up in New York City. I often talk about being in the elevator and my sublet. I grew up there where, of course, the code is, you get into the elevator, you don't look at anybody, you don't smile, you spin around and you stare at the door. Or maybe you're lucky and there are lights, numbers lighting up to look at, keep you distracted. But every once in a while, someone strikes up a conversation. And my sort of immediate visceral response is, what do you want? Because that's how I grew up, right? But what's it like? What happens if you pay attention, if you talk to somebody, if you listen? That way, all of our lives, every day becomes this incredible creative medium where we realize, I don't have to be the way I was yesterday. This is a really big tableau. This is a big life in which I can create and recreate these responses. I can experiment. I can step outside of the narrow confines of the things I'm used to. I can dare to imagine different kinds of happiness. It's a lot of fun when you see it in that light. So in my tradition, the way that's done, the way attention is modulated and played with is through the silent repetition of certain phrases where the phrases are like the vehicle for attention so that it can be less fragmented, less distracted, much more comprehensive, more gathered. It can be even wildly experimental as we pay attention in different ways, wishing ourselves well, wishing well toward others as we go through different you could say categories of relationship, those whom we love anyway, those whom we hardly know, like the checkout person in the supermarket, those we have difficulty with. And we really play. We use the phrases as the extension of our attention to see what happens, rather than seeing yourself as trying to fabricate something you actually are not feeling. You can utilize those phrases in just that way. Now, I often say that because they are words, clearly the phrases are going to be less than perfect. But we use them because that's the conduit for our heart's energy, for that quality of attention. We settle on a certain set of phrases that do express some kind of wish for ourselves and for others. The practice of loving kindness is most likened to a practice of generosity. It's like generosity of the spirit. And like any practice of generosity, the motivation is going to be really very important. Do we offer loving kindness, as I said yesterday, really almost as a kind of attachment? Like, may you be happy. Well, let's see, I've only got until 1 o'clock today, so may you be happy right away so I could fit in someone else tonight. Or may you be happy in this precise way. Or can it be like a freely given gift? I remember years ago, it was actually the year that I went with a group of people to India and Nepal and met Tuka Urgyen Rinpoche for the first time. Along the way, we had gone through India and seen various teachers and gurus as we made our way up to Nepal. And one of the people in that trip was this young man. And when we came back to the States, At one point he said to me, I'm thinking about bringing my father to India and going to this one particular city and having him meet this one guru there. And he said to me, what do you think? And I thought about it, and then I said, I don't think that's such a good idea. India has so many extraordinarily beautiful places, and that town is not one of them. And he probably won't like it. And the season you want to go is going to be really hot, and he may hate the food. His father had never done anything like that before. I said, he'll probably hate the food, and he could get sick, of course, and there'll be bugs. And not only that, you really have to admit, the scene around that guru is a little intense for someone who's, completely unused to that sort of thing. I said, it'll probably strike him as really strange, and I don't think you should go. But he didn't listen to me, and he went anyway. And then I saw him sometime later, and I said, how was it? And he said, it was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. My father loved India. He loved everything about India. He loved the food. He loved the city. And not only that, he loved the guru. He loved the scene around the guru. And not only that, he decided to become a disciple of the guru. And not only that, he's decided to spend the entire rest of his life devoted to the guru's mission. And I thought, I could not have been more wrong. But what is the most important thing in that moment? My feeling about shouldn't have worked out, really, or the fact that they were happy, right? What's real generosity in that moment?